Antigone is the third work of a tragedy trilogy written by Sophocles around the year of 442 BC. The first two tragedies play the story of the king of Thebes, Oedipus, and his fallen kingdom, but in the third one, the writer presents the suffering life of the king's children. After the death of their father, Antigone and her sister Ismene decided to return to Thebes. After their arrival, they found out that their brothers Eteocles and Polynices killed each other in combat. With the king and his two possible successors dead, Antigone's uncle Creon takes the throne. Antigone and her sister learned that the king had ordered that Eteocles had a proper burial, but Polynices, who he considered a traitor, was to be left in the battlefield to be eaten by birds. Antigone didn't think it was fair, so she talked her sister into helping her, giving their brother a proper burial as well, even if that would cause her to go to jail. Antigone was discovered in the act and was taken to the king, where he sentenced her to be locked away until she died. Creon's son, along with his mother and a blind prophet, pleaded to the king to release Antigone. But after he finally changed his mind and decided to set her free, they found out Antigone hanged herself. After this, Creon's son and his mother decided to end their lives as well, leaving the king in deep loneliness. In this work, I found different themes that were probably very common in the times that the story was written, such as power, rules, incest, and mortality. The king represents the maximum power and authority among the people in his own family, although his nieces seem to think that God was the main source of power and justice. Rules and order are a big part of the scenes. The contrast between religious rules and law in the hands of men play important parts on Antigone's story, because in the scene where she is being judged by her uncle for what she's done, she claims that God is the main rule in people's life rather than a man who judges everyone the way he thinks is right. In addition, after a little further research, it is noticeable that incest was very common in Greek ancients. In the story, Antigone was promised in marriage to Creon's son, her cousin. Also, her father ended up married with his own mother. Another aspect learned from this culture is that mortality is taken in a different level. Self-injury was one of the most chosen ways of protest against an imposed will. For example, Antigone, the king's son, and his wife decided to end their lives because they didn't agree with the king's will and actions. Killing themselves was probably the best way they found to express their disagreement with him. Also, Antigone's brothers decided to take forward their actions with the purpose of ending each other's life. Not all the moments in the play were representative behavior of the culture and surely caused unexpected reactions within the people of that kingdom. For example, most of the characters show determination from the beginning of the play. Despite each of the positions, all of them were clear on what goals they wanted to achieve. Creon, as the king of a nation, was determined to impose his rules and wills. Antigone was determined to do what she thought it was just for her brother's soul. Feminism is clearly shown in this play, maybe as the main lesson of the story or just as a revolutionary twist of the tragedy's trilogy. But it's definitely shown on the way Antigone, her sister Ismene, and the king's wife reacted to different situations imposed in the scenes, when in antique times women had no voice or power on anything. I found easy to relate the story of Antigone to the modern world. There are many similarities between her life, her actions, and the ideas of today's women's society. Even though the world has changed a lot through the years, there is still many cultures and social groups who believe that men are stronger and more powerful than women, and because of it, they shall rule. In the play, Sophocles presents Creon as a sexist and oppressor man who believes his word is the maximum law, and everyone, especially women, must obey. Creon thinks that women are to be ruled by men. The way I relate this character to our modern cultures is that sadly, a large number of men underestimate what a woman is capable of and think that they have less rights than men. An example is clear in companies in which only men can be in higher positions and with higher salary. Talks like this is what creates feminism. Although Antigone's disobedience was not with the purpose of showing the power of women, she committed a rebellion act thinking of love and justice, which makes me realize that, like Antigone, the women who defend their rights nowadays don't just want to demonstrate that point to the world. They fight so everyone in society see equality of genders. In addition, there are many other moments in the play that I can relate with the current political situations of many nations. After going through some research, I learned that in the Greek ancient times, democracy was what would help the king to make decisions based on what the people thought it was fair. Creon, on the other hand, abused of his power and everyone had to obey his word. He said his word was the law. In actuality, many countries suffer from the same violation of power. There are no kings, but in nations where democracy is supposed to be the decision maker, governants turn into dictators that only do what pleases them to obtain power and control of the nations and people. I would definitely recommend this text to others because just like I did, sure others could obtain a better idea of why many aspects of our society are based on human nature that is passed down to us from the ancient cultures. Social behaviors, rules and power, rebellion, justice, and love are some of the main lessons I've learned with this tragedy. Although nowadays many of those actions are punished by the law, I think it is inspirational to everyone's life when it's likely a situation. Courage and love for others should guide us through a decision.